What does hiring Coach Mike McCarthy mean for the quarterback room for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
We're going to find out if he can develop a QB, but I think it should be better.
Do you believe that the new coaching staff can actually develop a quarterback? As you saying, yeah, can McCarthy and his crew do it?
I'm not the guy that gives him credit for developing Joe Montana and Brett Favre. I'm not even going to give him credit for developing Dak Prescott because I don't think he did that, but he did elevate Dak Prescott's game.
Well, are we going to throw the ball in the middle, bro? Are we going to throw it in the middle?
We're going to throw the ball in the middle. If we don't, then get his ass up out of there immediately. We're not going through this no more, G. We're not doing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Steelers Almighty Draft Lab.
Analyzing the gridiron gold, Steelers almighty locked and loaded. Draft lab running hot, championship code decoded.
What's happening, everybody? Good to see everybody in the building. Welcome to the Steelers Almighty Draft Lab. Me and my boy Big B done switched seats. We in different spots. I get to do the host. I get to ask him the tough questions, and away we go. Thank all you guys for rocking with us this week. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share to everything, all content of Steelers Almighty, and become a member. We are always looking to grow memberships, and we're the fastest growing podcast channel for Steelers content on YouTube. Big B, man, I got a couple points. 13 weeks of this. We're in week 2. We got to do position by position breakdowns. That's where we're at tonight with the quarterback position. We had 3 mock drafts. We did one last week. We're going to wait to the middle and go to the mid-series, and we're going to keep it pushing. But tonight is about the quarterbacks, B. It's all about the quarterbacks, man. So my question to you, bro, do you really do believe that it's time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to move forward with the quarterback?
No, I mean, look, we said the same thing last year that the Steelers needed to wait until 2026 because the quarterback draft was going to be a lot better in 2026. And then what we saw was a lot of those quarterbacks that were supposed to be really good, we saw them struggle. So, you know, the Arch Mannings of the world, the Lenoris, Sellers of the world, the Garrett Nussmeyers, the Drew Aller, we saw all those guys struggle. So then it's like, well, do we really want to draft that? Now we look at the draft, you know, and nobody was even talking about Fernando Mendoza. So you look at the draft right now and you're like, well, damn, this is kind of a weak quarterback draft. Do we have to kick the can down the road again? It's a tough situation, but, you know, I tell you this, and maybe this is a cop-out. Art Rooney II doesn't want to draft a quarterback. I can assure you of that. He doesn't want to draft a quarterback. He wants to compete right now because I believe he wants to bring Aaron Rodgers back, and bringing in a quarterback early, number one, I'm not sure there is one, but bringing in a quarterback early doesn't help Aaron Rodgers be successful on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. So I think we probably wait. I think we do. Let's just be Steeler fans and understand the reality of it, G, and just say we wait.
Yeah. I think there's 2 perspectives, B. Either we're going to kick the can down the road or we're going to get to do something diabolical this year, man. So we'll see. And I think that's what we're going to chop up on this show. We're going to talk about the importance of it. And that leads me to my first point, man. The state of the Steelers in 2026. Listen, we last week on an alert level, we had them at 5, you know, at the quarterback room. Based on the mock draft 1.0, we still had them at 5. Do we change because we have the depth now? I mean, our depth chart currently is Will Howard, a 6th-round draft pick from Ohio State University that didn't play a snap, and Mason Rudolph, who we know exactly who Mason Rudolph is. When they show you who they are and they tell you who they are, we know who Mason is. So are we in a different state with DEFCON? Where are we at, bro? I mean, because, man, I don't know. I don't know, B.
Well, the only reason that I would say that we are only in DEFCON 4, that we maybe drop down a notch, is because of what we talked about at the very opening, Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has proven that he can work with quarterbacks. Whether you want to give him credit for developing guys or not, that's irrelevant. What he does is that he gets the best out of what he has been working with. Now, having said that, there hadn't really been inexperienced or 1-year guys that he's been working with. Even Aaron Rodgers, when he became the quarterback, he was on the Packers for 3 years. So it wasn't like he was a 1-year guy or something like that. He had been there for a while, understanding, learning, grooming, all that kind of stuff. So he hasn't really worked with a brand new quarterback. Doesn't mean he can't. It just means he hasn't done that. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but my benefit of the doubt is the talent in the room. That's where my problem is just the absolute talent. Yeah, we could have the world's greatest coach in the world, but if the talent isn't any good, for me, that's a problem. And that's where I'm at with the G.
B, I mean, I agree 150% with that, bro. I don't think we have enough. I don't think we've had enough talent in the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room since Ben Roethlisberger walked out the door. And now we're trying to piece this thing together. And what keeps happening is we keep kicking the can down the road. We just keep pushing it off versus trying to solve the quarterback room. And on top of all of that, B, and this is my next point to ask you a question. We have an X factor here. We have Aaron Rodgers, who will be 43 years old this year, and who we know, just based on perspective, that the owner probably wants this guy back. Now I'm hearing stuff about timelines and all whatever else for this, that, and this. But B, do we run it back with Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, there's two answers to that. Well, first, let me discuss when you're talking about kicking the can down the road and the talent in the room since Big Ben left. We tried. They tried with Baby Hands Pickett. It just didn't work out. Now, the only thing that I'll say about that, and you guys have been following me, if you have, I say this all the time, is one thing to make a mistake, but it's worse if you live in the mistake. The Steelers didn't live in the mistake. They said, Baby Hands can't play. Let's get him up out of here. Let's get him out of here and move on. And there were so many Kenny Pickett lovers that said, oh, they didn't get a chance, and he's going to be fine. He's been on 4 teams since then, and he is not an NFL quarterback. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that he's just a backup. Okay, fine. But as far as bringing Aaron Rodgers back, again, there's 2 answers to that question. And some people might say, Big B, you're copping out. No, because there's really 2 answers. Yeah. One is the owner. If the owner wants him back, he's coming back.
Yeah.
Just period, end of story. If the owner says, we need to get Aaron Rodgers in here, okay, you need to set a deadline. Hey, Art, that's fine, but we got a deadline because we can't wait until June this time. We don't have enough in the room. We got to do something. So now supposedly the deadline again is moved up. That's a conversation for a different day. Yeah. But okay, fine. But 2, the answer is let's move on. And no, we don't need Aaron Rodgers back. Let's bring somebody else in and let's have some real competition at the position and see what we can do. McCarthy already talked about the type of quarterback that he wants. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers doesn't fit that mold, people. He talked about he wanted a mobile quarterback that can do some things with his legs, extend plays. Now, I know some people will say, well, Rodgers did a little bit of that. That's not what McCarthy is talking about. He's not. He's talking about a guy that can make things happen with his legs, not just get out of danger, which, don't get me wrong, getting out of danger is a great thing. So I'm not knocking that, but that wasn't what he was talking about. He was talking about extending plays, getting yards down the field, creating things that can happen. That's what he was talking about. Now, that was his press conference. Whether he really believes that or not, who knows, G? Who knows?
Yeah. Listen, so I'll say this, and great points. The thing that I know is that we have 2 different mindsets almost. We got Art Rooney, who wants it one way, and you have Mike McCarthy, who wants it another way, right? McCarthy's saying what he needs to say in order to get people excited about the quarterback room. But you're absolutely correct. If Art Rooney says he's coming back, he's coming back. And then once again, that delays what needs to happen. We saw this happen through the AFC Championship game. We've seen it happen from the collegiate level to the pros. Let's face it, the NFL can only use what the collegiate level sends, right? And we're seeing more and more versatility from the quarterback position from college. These kids can run and throw. So I sort of believe that McCarthy can do it, but he got to have the talent in the room to be able to do it. Correct. And Rodgers doesn't fit that mold, bro. He does not fit that mold.
No, so not mobile quarterback mold. He doesn't fit that anymore. That is not part of his game any longer. It's not his fault. Everybody gets slower as they get older. It's not like Aaron Rodgers hadn't taken punishment over the time that he's been in the NFL. He has. So it just, Father Time, it's just the way things work. But he wasn't talking about that. But again, I don't want to get too caught up in a press conference either, G, because it's fine to tell us all that, to sell us all that in a press conference. What are we actually going to see? So once we start actually seeing how the roster's put together and all that kind of stuff, I feel like all of us, all Steeler fans, we can speak a little bit more confidently, or better yet, more intelligently on what's actually going on. So you can blow wolf tickets right now, but the proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah, facts, man. There's a lot of whoopies being sold around here, B. A lot of whoopies being sold around here. Let's be clear, right? All right, so listen, just a preference before we start talking about some of the free agent targets that might be available, right? Do you have a preference of what you would like to see from the quarterback room? Do you want like an Aaron Rodgers clone? Or do you want to see like a mobile guy, sort of like maybe like a Josh Allen or a Bo Nix? Or, God, look at Drake May and his legs and what he did in the AFC Championship game. Do you want to see a guy like that? Or do you want to see a Rodgers clone? Because Rodgers is not necessarily pocket, especially in his prime. He was able to move around. But the flexibility to make the pocket move, man.
That's what I was going to say that. I was like, Bo Nix and and Drake May. Now, granted, I don't think he's as fast as what Drake May is, but in Aaron Rodgers' prime, his legs were a huge part of his game. So if you're asking me the mold, Mike McCarthy may have been, if he was talking about that, he may have been speaking about what he was working with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Because, yes, those guys fit that mold, is being an accurate passer, but being able to create and do things with their legs. That was what Aaron Rodgers was. So, it's fine because these new age guys, there wasn't that many when Aaron Rodgers was in his prime. There wasn't that many guys that were doing the things with their legs. Now they're everywhere. And so, I mean, if you're talking about prime Aaron Rodgers, yes, absolutely. That is what I want, because I think these other guys are clones of what he was.
Yeah, I agree. He was almost like the first of his kind, man. If you go back and look at it, he was almost like the first of his kind, to be able to be mobile and be a dotter. And I think that's what we want to see in the quarterback room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, saying all that, man, we got to bring in competition, because me and you done both agreed. There's no way in hell we're just handing this thing over to Will Howard. We're not doing it, right? You got to bring in veteran competition to compete, all right? There's some guys out there that, we possibly could get via trade, free agency. I'm going to throw a couple of names at you and see what you're thinking, man. Mac Jones, man. Mac Jones.
I'm in favor of bringing in Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. I thought what he did with Kyle Shanahan this year, I think he's a reclamation project, obviously. The one thing about Mac Jones, he's been to the playoffs. He's had some success in this league, but when your head coach sabotages that development and puts a damn defensive coordinator and a special teams guy in charge of your development, that's a problem, man. And, that happened to him. So it's not like that, we're just making this stuff up. No, that really happened to him. So I would love to see what he could do in a situation with an offensive mind. I mean, we saw it with Shanahan, and it looked good. Those games that he had to play when Brock Purdy was out, let him compete for the job. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I think he's a reclamation project. There's no doubt in my mind. He definitely has moved the needle as far as his need to play quarterback in the National Football League or get an opportunity. So I'm feeling it. All right, B. It's another guy, man. A guy named Kyler Murray. You know how he gets down, man. Kyler Murray, man. Oh, God, here we go. Big B, man.
I like Kyler Murray. Now, it might be because I live in the DFW area and I saw him play high school. I like Kyler Murray. Now, don't get me wrong, people. I understand what Kyler Murray is. I know he's short. I know that they put study habit issues in his contract. They didn't do that for no reason, regardless of what anybody says. They put that in your contract. They know you ain't studying. Period. End of story. Okay. I've seen Kyler Murray on just out. Let's just say that. I've seen him out and about as far as some of his off-season things. I'm not sure how focused Kyler Murray is, but maybe getting away from that bad organization in Arizona. And let's not kid ourselves. Arizona is a bad organization, bad ownership, bad juju, whatever you want to call it. That would be different in Pittsburgh. But do you want to take a chance on a guy that got a big opportunity and kind of squandered it? While I like Kyler Murray, I'm not willing to bring him to Pittsburgh, G. No, I'm just not. I know that'll make you happy, but I'm not.
I don't want that little dude. That dude plays too much video, man. That dude plays too many video games for me, man. I can't do it. I need him to be studying that playbook, bro. And B, you know, it's cold up here. You know, you got to have one of the things about the criteria for a quarterback, you have to have a cannon. Now, I'm not saying Kyler Murray can't throw the ball, but in order for you to play in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, based on weather, you got to have a cannon. And I don't know if he can handle the cold. And on top of all of that, we would have to pay for draft capital. Oh, my God. Well, we'd have to give up in a trade.
I don't think it would be that much, to be honest with you, G. I think the Cardinals are probably ready to move off of him. So I don't think it would be that expensive to get him as far as draft capital. But here's what I would say. If it's anything higher than a 5th-round pick, absolutely not. If you can get Kyler Murray for a 5th-rounder, bring him on in. Fine. I'll relent to that. But the Steelers got too many holes, too many needs, and I'm not willing to give a 4th round or higher for a guy that we don't know is going to study. Absolutely not. I'm not willing to do that.
All right. I got a name that's not on a lot of lists for people. His backup, Jacoby Brissett. That's a true bridge, B. That's a true – I mean, if we're going to talk about bridge, this is a true bridge quarterback. How you feeling maybe to see Jacoby Brissett in a Steelers uniform, man?
Well, the one thing I would say, Steeler fans are going to hate it because there wouldn't be a competition if he came in because he would be better than Will Howard. So, and he's proven to be better than Will Howard because he's done some stuff. Now, I know you don't know what Will Howard can do. He's never taken a snap. Yeah, I get to all of that. But Jacoby Brissett has proven to be something in this league. I'm not saying it was great, but if that were the case, I don't think it would be an actual competition because Brissett would come in and he would be better than him.
Yeah.
But if he came in and they said, look, you're going to take the spot, because I think if he did come in, Mason Rudolph's days would be numbered.
Facts.
I don't even know if they would be numbered. I just Brissett's here. Thank you, Mason. See you. Goodbye. Unless they brought him in to say, you are not going to be the starter. No matter what, we want you to help groom and to help develop Will Howard. If they did that, okay. But the thing is, Brissett, while the Cardinals were terrible, he wasn't terrible this year. No. So I don't think he would put himself in a situation like that, G. So would I want him? Probably not, because I am very interested and invested in Will Howard competing for a job. And I don't know that it would be a real competition one way or another with Jacoby Brissett, because I think he's better than him. And I don't think that Jacoby Brissett would come in and just say, okay, I'm going to be a backup to a guy who's never taken a snap at all. I don't think he would be willing to do that.
Yeah, I feel it, man. I think Jacoby, he would definitely start over Will Howard because what he's proven on the field, B. So I don't know if that's –
and maybe that's what Will Howard needs, another veteran to learn from. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it's a real competition, I don't think Will Howard would win that. That's my whole thing. I just don't think he would win it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, B, I got to rapid fire some names at you. I'm going to shoot them
Okay.
just like bullets, man, just like bullets. First name, Malik Willis. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Next name, Marcus Mariota. Yes or no?
No. Hell no.
I knew that was coming. I knew that one. Third name, Zach Wilson.
Absolutely hell no.
I feel you. And then I got to pull one from the chamber. One deep shot, man. No, did he? No doubt. Pause. Justin Fields.
Oh, I mean, I'm not even going to classify that with saying hell no, absolutely no. Justin Fields be lucky to be in the NFL next year.
Yeah.
There you go. There's my answer. He'll be lucky to be in the NFL next year.
I feel it, man. But B, because there's so much uncertainty in the Steelers quarterback room right now. People are tying all kind of quarterbacks to us, and I'm just on the mindset that, man, I don't want any of these has been used, quote unquote, washed quarterbacks in my room. I want a guy that can actually compete for the job. Correct. Or help set the guy who's going to start quarterback up to do well. That's my thinking. I don't want anything else in that room. So to bring a guy in like Justin Fields, who is ultimately a project, or Marcus Mariota, it just doesn't work, B. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. So,
Well, I mean, like a guy, you're right in all of that, G, because a guy like Marcus Mariota, you're not bringing him in to compete for your job. You would he's like Mason Rudolph. You're bringing him in to be your backup. And that's not what I want at the quarterback position with Will Howard. I want there to be a real competition. That's why I'm sketchy on the Jacoby Brissett thing, because I just think Brissett would actually beat him out. And that doesn't mean that Will Howard's not any good, people, so relax. I just think Brissett would beat him out. I think his skill set and what he does, I think he would beat him out for the job. Yeah. And I don't know if I want to set Will up like that. I want him to have a real chance. I know that sounds like, it sounds like you just want competition that he can beat. No, I don't. I don't want just competition that he can beat. I want there to be a real competition so he has a fair chance. Yeah. Maybe that's a better statement, because I just don't believe, even though Brissett's not great, he's also not terrible.
Facts.
Okay, and so to act like he's terrible, you're lying to yourself, because he isn't terrible. So he's been in the league this long. He was a starter for the majority of the year this year, granted in a hurt situation. He's got some starts. Again, I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but he's average, and I just think I want Will to win the job against real competition.
Yeah.
If he wins the job, that's what I want.
Yeah. Now, B, we've talked about veterans, right? We've talked about players that can come in and create competition. But I think there's another way to go about it. Maybe you draft a kid and put pressure on him. Because, I want to keep saying this over and over. You've said it a million times. He was a 6th-round NFL draft pick. I'm not saying he stinks. I'm not saying he's not any good. But the fact is, most of the time, they know what they're doing when they pick a quarterback prospect. He was a 6th round. The percentages of 6th-round quarterbacks to make and start in the NFL, if you look over the last 10 years, it's like slim to none.
No, so I give you better than that, G. Over the last 40 years, there's been 5.
Yeah. Facts. So, we're looking at a guy that in most cases is not going to become your franchise. But if he earns it, oh well. But you still got to maybe look at the draft. And that's where we're headed concerning the Draft Lab show here on Steelers Almighty. Do you think and feel that it would be advantageous for the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft a quarterback and bring him in to compete with Will Howard?
Free agency is first. So if you can't get the guy that you actually want to come and compete, then yes, you do that. You draft a guy, and wherever you get him, that's what I would do is draft the guy and bring in competition. Luckily, we have the the opportunity to see what we do in free agency. But even if not, because it's depends on who you bring in free agency. Like if you brought in a veteran, you're going to get rid of either him or maybe you're probably going to get rid of Mason Rudolph, because why would you bring a veteran in just to get rid of him? You're not going to do that.
Right.
So then you could draft somebody. But what I don't want is, okay, it's Will Howard, a rookie, who essentially Will Howard is a rookie too.
Yeah, facts.
And then one other person who has absolutely no chance at winning the job. That would mean our quarterback room is horrific. That part I don't want. We need a solid veteran in that room. If Mason Rudolph is that guy, fine. But I'll be honest with you, I'm out on Mason Rudolph, man. I'm done. I'm done.
About 90% of Steelers Nation is out on Mason too, B.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. The Chicago Bear game did it for everybody.
That did it for everybody, man.
Everybody's like, he's done. He's trash. He can't play anymore. He's this and that. That was supposed to be an easy win. I mean, we heard the talk, B. So most of us are done with Mason. So, I like what you're saying concerning the combination of a wily old veteran, a guy that can actually compete for the job, and bringing in a rookie that can fight with him as well concerning the quarterback position and drafting a guy. Because like you said, Howard's a rookie. So we're going to have two rookies and a veteran. I'm with that. At least in that way, we're trying to address the quarterback room, because we haven't really addressed it since Kenny Pickett. We tried and we saw what happened, right? It just didn't work. All right, so that's the census of the draft lab. The draft lab that we do on Almighty, we start talking about positions, players, guys that can actually fit. But we got to have a pecking order, man. And our pecking order, and now we're not talking about me and Big B's rating, because we're going to rank these quarterbacks, right? Our information comes directly from NFL Draft Buzz, right? So all you guys that aren't familiar with it, you can go out there and look and see how they got these quarterbacks ranked on NFL Draft Buzz and where they're at, right? We're going to go down the list of some of the guys. We're going to talk about them. A couple of them we know we might not have a shot at, but I think there's a few of them that we do, all right? So, B, we're going to start it out what we know that we believe. We don't know for sure. But we believe that the consensus number one overall draft pick is Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana. 6'5", 225. B, won a Heisman Trophy and a national championship. Talk to me about him and his ability to play quarterback in the National Football League.
Well, the skill set that he has translates, other than I know everybody looks at that play against Miami that essentially won them the national championship. He's not doing that in the National Football League. So you're not running through linebackers like that in the national. Cam Newton didn't run through linebackers on the regular occurrence, and he's much bigger than this guy and faster than him. So you're just not running through NFL linebackers and running over safeties, and you're not doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but he is accurate.
Yes.
Got a strong arm.
Yes.
And so I give him a chance. My problem is I'm not sure who you would compare him to. And if we're all being honest, while we like Fernando Mendoza, I think his story is incredible because the Indiana story is incredible. If he comes out, I don't know, 2 years ago as a quarterback, maybe not last year, but 2 years ago, where's he drafted? You know what I'm saying? Like, where does he get drafted?
Yeah.
So, with that class, with all those guys that got drafted. So is he in that mix? I don't think so. So, I like Fernando Mendoza, but as a Steeler, I mean, he's not going to fall to 21, so I don't think we have to worry about that. But if he did, I'd take him at 21. I wouldn't move up to get him, though. No.
Yeah. And there's so many Steeler fans, so many people that rock with us and watch what we do in the podcast land that's out there. Trade everything to go Mendoza. No. And I'm not saying he's a bad prospect. He's going to be the number one quarterback picked or taken off the board. That's not really saying a lot because there's not a whole lot of depth in this class. But his deal is, B, and this is what I like about him a lot. And I get down with nicknames and I tag guys, right? So I said him and Kurt Signetti is Pinky in the Brain, right? Listen, that kid is a processor. He can process defenses, man. And he's accurate. He's a doubter. He doesn't force the action, bro. If it ain't there, first read, second read, he's pulling it down and going. You know, so I think in the NFL that's going to translate, man. He's going to play well, but is he? Because to go from 21 to 1, B, what would we have to give up? What would we have to give up?
And everything this year and next year, the Steelers got too many holes for that, man. Too many holes.
Facts, man. Facts. All right, B. Listen, we've had backstage comments, man. Backstage talking. A lot of people don't know, right? There's a certain guy, and I'm going to just leave it there. I'm not going to tell you who, but there's a certain guy that Big B sort of maybe convinced me to maybe start really paying a lot of attention to, right? I ain't going to say whether or not it's this guy I'm going to say name, but I'm just saying that there's a certain guy that Big B done got to convince me to start paying attention to. Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama, 88 quarterback rating in the NFL, 6'2", 210 pounds. He's fast, B. He runs like a 4.65. That's not a slow quarterback. He put up magical numbers, man. 3,567 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 5 INTs. He's a 5-star recruit. He's a big-time kid, man, big-time player, and he played on a big-time team. B, tell me why the Steelers would even think about taking Simpson at 21.
Well, his dad is a football coach at UT Martin. That's number one. So he comes from, he's got a high football IQ. Comes from a coach. He's a coach's son, so he comes from a football family. So that's number one. Number two, he did all of this, and you got to remember, people look at Will Howard's numbers from last year. He led the Big Ten in passing yards, 73%. Great year. But look at what Will Howard was working with. Had three first-round draft picks as wide receivers. Yes. 2 high-level running backs. And also 2 first-round draft picks as offensive linemen. And if you count moving forward, it's probably going to be 4. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Ty Simpson doesn't have that. They had 0 running game this past year at Alabama, which is wild to say, but they didn't have any running game at all. None. Their leading rusher had 500 yards rushing. Again, something crazy to say at Alabama. So one of the best receivers, who was supposed to be one of the best receivers, took a year off and just dropped a ton of footballs this year. I don't know what the reason was. Yeah. So I like Ty Simpson. There's some people that don't like him. His game will translate to the National Football League. Again, football IQ. I like him, G. I think he could help the Steelers.
But the only pushback I have with Ty Simpson is he's only had 15 starts. But he's not in the Anthony Richardson not enough starts type category.
Right.
15 starts for him is not apples to apples. 15 starts for him is different than 15 starts or whatever the amount of starts it was for Anthony Richardson. This kid actually shows that he can play. He struggles a little bit on the deep ball too, B, but I think he's got the arm strength to play in the league, bro. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, he's got elite accuracy, in tight window throws and intermediate routes, which that should be music to Pittsburgh Steelers fans' ears. Intermediate routes, over the middle, pinpoint accuracy. Lord have mercy. Yeah. So, I like him, G.
Feeling it. B, quarterback number 3 on the list, Garrett Nussmeier. Right now, you talk about a person who's tied to the NFL. His dad actually used to be on Mike McCarthy's coaching staff when he was in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Right? His dad has got NFL pedigree all across the board. Nussmeier's a little shorter. He's 6'1" and a half, about 205 pounds. Doug, like we said, Doug Nussmeier is his pops, man. Doug Nussmeier is just calling plays in the National Football League. Let's be clear. His dad is not a bum, man. The issue is he's sort of like a gunslinger, but I don't know what I want to think about him. So, B, tell our listeners, tell our viewers, the people that rock with us, why they should be convinced that maybe Nussmeier could play quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I mean, I think the one thing about him is, again, your father is a coach in the National Football League, so you would hope that he has a high football IQ, and everything that I've heard and seen from him, he does. He's a gunslinger. That's part of it. But he's also got pro-ready mechanics, G. And that's something that a lot of guys, especially the way the college game is right now, they don't have good mechanics. And so you're having to break them all the way down just to build them right back up. You don't have to do that with this guy. He already has the mechanics part of it down. And again, you got a father that's a coach in the National Football League. That helps, and you just being able to be around some of that stuff. All of those things help. So I like him. And as far as that, now he dealt with an injury this past year.
Yeah.
And also bad coaching, because Brian Kelly is just a bad football coach.
Yes. Horrible. Horrible.
I like Nussmeier. I mean, I'm not moving up in the first round to take him if that's what somebody's asking. And I probably wouldn't even do it in the second round. But if you could get him in the third round, yeah, I would take a chance on that.
Yeah, I'm feeling it, man. Now, B, according to NFL Draft Buzz, those are the top tier guys, top tier 3. The rest of these guys are all on a second tier, right? And rightfully so, because there's a lot of questions. But one thing that we know in the National Football League, there are stories that exist where a kid comes in as a prospect and something happens from a development standpoint. And the next thing you know, this kid's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. So they got a few prospects out there in that second tier. The tier's 80 to like 84, whatever, as far as their ranking, right? I don't like some of them. There's a couple of them I'm like, yeah, I'd take a swing for the fences, right?
Right.
This first dude, I can't, hell no. But we still got to talk about him. Carson Beck, man, quarterback out of Miami Hurricanes, man. Been in college forever, B. He should have been a pro. I mean, what are we talking about, man? This dude he should be working on his second contract, man. What's going on, man?
Well, that's the thing. People talk about Tyler Shuck that got drafted by the Saints last year, who ended up having a pretty good rookie year once he got into the lineup. He was older too. The difference is he was hurt several times in college. Carson Beck got hurt once.
Facts.
And then he came back and transferred to Miami. He didn't get hurt 5 or 6 times. That wasn't the case. But it's just what you said. He's not a prospect. Prospects are guys that come out early and again, got to build their mechanics up, but they have the talent.
Yeah.
That's not what he is. I would pass on Carson Beck altogether.
Yeah. Next dude, man. Listen, I'm passing on him quick. So any of y'all think there's a confusion like G don't agree with B, that's why I don't even talk about him and stop and pause, because I don't like him. Next guy, man, K. Klubnik, man, Clemson quarterback. Another kid, B, when all this stuff started, K. Klubnik, Nussmeier, Beck, these were guys that we're all talking about were first-round draft picks. Well, we saw what he put on film at Clemson, man. So do you think that Clay Klubnik can actually be an NFL quarterback and compete for a starting job?
No, I don't. I think he'll have a place in the NFL, but not as a starter. He had a huge growth year in 2024 and then took a massive step back last year. Now, you can blame whoever you want to blame for that, but Clemson wasn't any good and he wasn't any good. So, that's somebody that you can just pass on. I mean, he's a great athlete, not a good athlete. He's a great athlete for a quarterback or just for anybody in general.
Yeah.
But I would pass on Klubnik. We don't need that.
No, me neither. Pass the tray on around. Just keep it pushing. No way. Now, this is the most diabolical thing I've seen on the whole list, B. I couldn't believe this guy was ranked number 6 on the list. Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt quarterback, is number 6? B, listen, not only do you want to see him as a Steeler, do you think he's going to play in the league? Do you think he's going to play in the NFL?
I mean, somebody will take a flyer on him, but yeah, I don't think Diego. I think he was a great college quarterback, but we've seen, you know how many great college quarterbacks there are that don't play in the National Football League? I think he's one of them.
Yeah, facts, man.
Because he ain't going to be running around and running away from guys like he did in college. Like that, that's not going to happen.
I saw him today on the Senior Bowl, and they ran a little fake RPO when he ran around, and the crowd got to oohing and eyeing. I'm like, that's not real football. These dudes ain't out here hitting each other. In the National Football League, he would have got decapitated. There's no way they would have let him run around the end like that. Now, he's a fighter. He's got the moxie. He's got all the stuff that people liked with Johnny Manziel and all whatever else. But a quarterback in the National Football League, And I don't think he's a passer either. He's a field general, but I don't know if he can dot it up. I just don't think he can do it.
He also is only 5'9", too. He got
Yeah.
measured at the Senior Bowl. He's 5'9" and 7/8. Now, you can say
God.
Kyler Murray, I get it, but he don't have the arm strength that Kyler Murray does. So,
God.
no,
way.
I'm out on him.
B, the seventh guy is the big question mark. The big question mark, Trinidad Chambliss, right? Is he going to go pro? Is he got to go back to college? I mean, he's petitioned the NC2A to get an extra year at Ole Miss, right? And this kid is like one of those dream stories too. He's a D2 prospect that came to D1 and lit it up. He literally came to Ole Miss and took the quarterback position from a kid named Simmons that was actually supposed to be pretty good. But the next thing you know, Trinidad Chambliss, he's balling out of control. And we saw what he did in the playoff, man. And there's a lot of Steelers people that's high on this guy. Do you think if Trinidad Chambliss is forced to go into this draft, that the Steelers will take a look at him, man?
I think they should take a look at him. My only thing about it is, and I know it's financial because of where he's going to get drafted, he could go, if he can go back to Ole Miss, he's going to get paid a lot more. He's probably going to get paid anywhere between the $5 and $7 million range. Well, if he's a third or fourth or fifth round draft pick, he ain't getting that. So that's the difference here. But also at the same time, I get the financial aspect of it, but when is it time to, you know what? I just want to be a pro.
Yeah.
And you could look at it, well, college is pro now. It really isn't. You know, the talent level isn't even remotely close to the same. So it really isn't. So at what point do you say, I just want to be a pro? And he's fighting to go back to college again to play a sixth year. It's not like a fourth year or fifth year, a sixth year. I'm like, my God, how long do guys want to be in college? But even so, if he has to come out, the Steelers wouldn't be doing their due diligence if they didn't take a look at him, because I think he can play.
Yeah, he actually, even that, he's a smaller stature guy too. B, he's 5'10". You know, we'll see what he measures when he actually does measure, but he's smaller stature. But this kid's his daughter. He's got an arm strength out this world, and he's accurate, man. So like you said, it would be diabolical for the front office and the scouting department to not take a good look at him and say, okay, maybe. But I know there's going to be all the Steelers fans and the almighty chat. They're going to be like, we should draft Chandler. No, we shouldn't. You look at the prospect. You don't just say, oh, because of my feelings, I want this kid. No, you don't do all of that, man. B, a guy that I might be a little high on, B, Drew Aller.
I like Drew Aller.
Shipwreck for a season, bro. Shipwreck for a season. But talk to me about Drew Aller, man.
A prototypical size, cannon for an arm. I know a lot of people will say, well, he couldn't win the big game. Was that him or was it his coach? You know, because a lot of times you saw them in game-winning situations run some of the most diabolical plays that a man could think of. I'm like, why are you calling that? You know, so that was more James Franklin and what they had going on. But I like Drew Aller. Took a huge hit to his stock this past year, G. If he'd have come out last year, he'd have been a first-round draft pick. And now look at him. He might be fifth, maybe fourth, because the draft for quarterbacks is bad. Who knows? But I still like him. And again, if the Steelers could get him in the fifth round, take him. Absolutely take him.
B, I'm willing to bet that he has the best arm strength out of all quarterbacks in this draft. His velocity and ability to drive the ball into tight windows, oh my God. Because it wasn't like at Penn State they had NFL wide receivers. He had one NFL guy named Tyler Warren that played tight end. Everybody else that was NFL caliber played in the backfield. So he wasn't able. So when you saw him complete some of these passes that he did, you were like, oh my God, this kid, imagine him playing with talent. To me, B, he's the anti-Will Howard. To me, he's the anti. Will Howard played with all pro, all NFL, all collegiate. Drew Aller never had none of that. He never had none of it. So, I'm high on Drew Aller, and I would definitely take a swing at him. So that's just me. B, position quarterback number 9. Taylor Green, Arkansas, the best athlete. 6'6", 229 pounds, legit 4.4 40-yard dash. Now, they're saying he's a project. He's a developmental project, but he's got huge arm strength. He's capable of delivering the ball from the pocket, and he can get out of there when he needs to. B, do you like Taylor Green at all?
The only reason that I like him, he played for Bobby Petrino at Arkansas under that, OC and then interim head coach. So an NFL playbook's not going to overwhelm him. So that's what I like. But you're right. This is a true project. Like Will Howard got drafted late, but I don't feel like Will Howard is a project. Like he knows how to play the quarterback position. Taylor Green knows how because, again, he played for Petrino, but mechanics. And if you could get him round 7, okay, fine. But I wouldn't take him any higher than that.
Yeah, I feel it. I'm with that as well, man. Projects just don't move the needle for me in the National Football League. It just doesn't. You have to be able to play. You got to hit the ground running. So especially
when our owner says we're in win now mode.
Correct.
We don't have time for projects at quarterback.
Correct. Absolutely. Sawyer Robertson, Baylor. I've been watching him in Senior Bowl practices and all. B, he's got some heart. 6'4", 221. You saw him up front and close and personal down there in the Big 12 country, man. What do you like about Sawyer Robertson, quarterback of Baylor, man?
He's not afraid to throw the football, G. Like, he'll throw 2 picks, and he'll come back, and he'll try to fit it in the tightest window known to man the very next throw. So he has absolute blinders on, which is good, and that can also be bad because he got a strong arm, and he believes that any throw that's out there that he can make. Yeah. And that is not necessarily the case. But he can play the quarterback position a little bit. And, again, this was a guy, you get him a late round. He's not as big of a project as Green is, but he would be somewhat of a project. But he can move around a little bit with his legs and do some stuff. It just didn't have a tremendous amount of talent at Baylor. They had some. Don't get me wrong. Baylor had some talent out there.
Yeah.
He threw for a lot of yards.
Yeah.
A lot of yards, and he threw it a lot of times. I think it was over 1,000 times in his career. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
And it was basically over 2 years at Baylor. So I like him. I like him, but he would be a late round guy for me.
Yeah, he got a lot of tread on them tires, man. When we start looking at running backs, you like, dude, how many carries you had? Oh, God, you might make it 3 years in the league, but for whatever reason, this kid, he pitches the – but that's what Baylor does. They've been pitching the ball all over the yard forever. So that tells me something. That tells me you can actually play, So we'll see. I'm going to keep my eye on him. And B, the last guy, man, who I think is sneaky. Like, I'm telling you, a sneaky prospect, man. And B, I shouldn't tell, but B got a little love for the school we're going to talk about, man. The Louisville Cardinal, Miller Moss, man. Now, this kid's a transfer. He came from USC Trojans. He transferred to Louisville. Listen, he's accurate. He's a gunslinger, and he's a gamer. And I think Miller Moss is a sneaky prospect, man. I think his game, more unlike a lot of these other quarterbacks, transitioned to the National Football League better than what some of these other guys did, B. That's my thoughts.
G, I seen him up close because I watch Louisville every game that I can watch him. He is absolute trash.
Oh, God.
He is absolute trash.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
You do not know. No. The reason that Louisville had the season that they had, 2 reasons. Their top 2 running backs, who are really good, by the way, got hurt, and Miller Moss continued to turn the football over, throwing pick 6 in big moments. That is the reason that they went 9-4. If he just doesn't turn the damn ball over because he panics and just throws it all willy-nilly, Louisville probably wins at least 2 more games.
Wow.
And I know everybody's going to look at, well, they beat Miami. Look what he did in Miami. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
But Miami didn't put a whole lot of pressure on Louisville in that game. They schemed them up in that game, and they also ran the football on Miami. But you get back down to everything. He lost his job at USC. Why? Because he wasn't good enough.
Facts.
And he came to Louisville, and the consensus with Louisville fans, he was the reason that Louisville didn't have a season. And Jeff Brom, who is known as a quarterback whisperer, he missed on this guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the consensus with Miller Moss. No, I wouldn't draft him. I don't care what. No.
Hey, B, all those people that say that Miami, they beat Miami, it wasn't because of what Miller Moss did. It was because of how bad Carson Beck played.
That's right.
That's another one of these guys on the list. And I'm telling the Steelers, hell no.
Dude.
Hell, all the picks he threw that game. Oh, my God. I remember we was texting each other back and forth, and we was like, B, the Cardinals won. But we was like, Beck is trash. He's horrible. He's freaking horrible, man. We can't do it, man. All right, B, so listen, we listened to NFL Draft Buzz about their prospects, how they rank, and all what else. We got our own internal rankings, 1 through 11. We're going to rapid fire and lead down our list, man. I'm going to kick this thing off. I'm going to go 1 through 11, where I have my quarterbacks ranked. We gave you the details. We'll pause a little bit and talk a little bit, maybe just about each one. But for the most part, we're going to go through the list, man. My quarterback rankings, as far as where I got them listed, and this is Steelers almighty quarterback rankings. Get that NFL Draft Buzz out of here. We ain't trying all that PFF mess. No, you need to come here and get your content concerning where the quarterbacks actually need to fall, right? 1 through 11, rapid fire, man. Fernando Mendoza is my number 1 quarterback. We talked the reasons why. B, you grew on me with Ty Simpson, man. You grew on me with Ty. B, listen, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. And I've already stated this. If the Steelers could trade out of 21 back and maybe to get 25 or 26 and pick up a second or third round pick, Ty Simpson's your pick, man. Because I think he's going to do well up underneath a coach, maybe like McCarthy, and being able to develop. So I'm going to rock with Ty Simpson at number 2. Number 3, which I think is plan B, is Garrett Nussmeier. I think that because of the family ties between the Nussmeier family and the McCarthy family and how this kid has been around Mike McCarthy since he was a little kid, yeah, Nussmeier might be the guy you see the Steelers pick in round 3 or 4. My next guy is Drew Aller. I think Drew Aller, man, is outstanding. And I just think he had a bad rap, man. I really do believe that Drew Aller, anywhere else, I'm just going to be honest, Drew Aller at Ohio State? Drew Aller at Ohio State. Drew Aller has got multiple championships, man. That's how good of a prospect this kid was. They just couldn't get a team around him. They couldn't help him. So I got Drew Aller at 4. B, you're gonna be mad, but I got the project Taylor Green at 5. I got the project Taylor Green at 5, man. Man, it's the athleticism, man. You know I'm a sucker for that, bro. And my bias goes strong when I see that athletic ability. You know I dig it out, B. But it'll mess around and he'll be trash in that league, and you'll be like, gee, you was loving Taylor Green. Oh well, man. Trinidad Chandlerless is my number 6 prospect, man. He's small, but the kid can play. He's a dotter, right? And I think in the National Football League, you get a chance. K. Klubnik's number 7. I don't know if his game translates to the NFL, but if there's anybody that maybe can fix him, it might be Mike McCarthy. He might be able to help him. Sawyer Robertson, I like at number 8. I think Sawyer Robertson is definitely going to play in the National Football League because I think he's fearless. I think he's absolutely fearless, and he will push that ball, man. So I like him. And then the last rapid fire, Carson Beck, Miller Moss, and Diego Pavia, hell no. Right, so 8, so 9, 10, 11. I don't want the Steelers to even think about drafting any of those dudes, man, from my list. B, it's on you, man. Your list 1 through 11, man.
All right. So number 1, I got Fernando Mendoza. We already know we talked about all these guys, so I won't spend a whole lot of time. So at 1, I got Mendoza. 2, I got Ty Simpson. I like him just for the reasons that we spoke about. 3, this is where we start to differ. I got Drew Aller at number 3. At number 4, I have Trinidad Chambliss. Look, he's got a strong arm. He's accurate, mobile. The only question is, why does he want to go back to college versus just becoming a pro? To me, that bothers me a little bit, Gia. Some people it doesn't bother because they talk about the money. But for me, that bothers me a little bit. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Next, I got Garrett Nussmeier at number 5. 6, Cade Klubnik. 7, I got Sawyer Robertson. I,
Ooh.
I, I like Sawyer Robertson a little bit more than you do, but I like him. Not a ton, but I like him. And number 8, I got Taylon Green. And then the last 3 are the exact same as yours: Beck, Moss, and Pavia. So that is my list. But I mean, Miller Moss, if any U of L fans are out there, they'll tell you, get in the chat and tell us exactly what you think about Miller Moss. They will tell you, G, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Horrible. Get him out of here. Horrible. B, all right, so I got to put you in the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask the hard question, right? And I think this is part of the reason why we're doing this series, because our job is to maybe, just from a fan's perspective, help the Steelers try to diagnose the quarterback position. So part of that means you got to answer hard questions. You got to stand on business with it, which we always do around here on Steelers Almighty. We stand on business, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, B, I'm going to put you in the dojo. Hard question. What round and what quarterback do the Pittsburgh Steelers take a quarterback in the 2026 NFL Draft?
I think for me, it's easy, G. You mentioned the prospect of this possibly happen earlier. If the Steelers could trade back out of their position, because you start getting down to the bottom of an NFL draft, teams that are high in the second round want to move up into the first round. Yeah. They want to be able to do that to go get their guy. Well, I guess the question would be who would want to move up with you, and what can you get? If you could get an early second round pick or something like that, then I would move back and I would take Ty Simpson. I'm sold on Ty Simpson at this point in time. Now, we're very early in the draft process, G. It's not even February yet.
Facts.
So that all of this could absolutely change. Matter of fact, I will 100% guarantee you that these things are going to change from now until draft day.
Yes.
Maybe not every single spot, but this is going to change. We're very early in the evaluation process. But for me, I am a Ty Simpson guy. I like what he did at Alabama under the pressure that he had to perform, and not just because it's Alabama. I'm talking about no run game, not a great offensive line, receivers that were, a lot of them or a few of them were inconsistent, and he still put up solid numbers. So that's what I would do. Give me Simpson early second by trading back.
Man, I like that, man. I'm almost convinced that Simpson might be the guy that the Steelers take a swing on. But I like Drew Aller. I think Drew Aller has some of the highest upside for this quarterback room, right? And I think that Drew Aller just needs to get in a position where he's actually coached and he's surrounded by NFL talent. I think Drew Aller's the kid, man. If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have 3 third-round picks. One of those has to go on Drew Aller in my position. And I think Drew Aller will give Will Howard a run for the money. I'm talking about Will Howard's just not going to get it. And it plays well for the Pittsburgh Steelers because if you can develop 2 of them at one time, how much better is that for us as an organization, B? If you got a wily old veteran and then you sit and make these kids compete and you can develop 2 of them, hey, man, we're in a better position than we've been in years. Yeah. So I bring in Drew Aller. I think Drew Aller's an athlete. I think he can run. I think he can throw. I think he's a dotter. I think he has the best arm strength. There's no way in hell we can pass up on Drew Aller as a 3rd-round draft pick. We just can't do it. It doesn't make any sense. So that's where I'm at with my positioning, man, as far as quarterback, bro. Gotcha. All right, B. We to the end of the thing. We into the end of the Steelers Almighty Draft Lab. We've done our thing on week 2 of the Draft Lab. And, man, listen, what's crazy is it changes every week, right? We didn't know that Mike McCarthy was going to become the head coach. No. We didn't know that our whole line was going to change as far as where we were going concerning quarterback, right? But it happened. And that's the good thing about this. You can come back to the Draft Lab and check out what we did, check out where we're moving forward and how we're able to change, man. And if you haven't liked, shared, subscribed to Steelers Almighty to get this content, please make sure that you like and subscribe and share with every person that you talk to about Steelers football because the Draft Lab is one of those series that you can't miss. Be our closing thoughts, man, before we get out of here, man. What you got going on, man? What you thinking? And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we got going on next week, bro.
I mean, look, I think I talked about it earlier. It's just obviously none of this is an exact science, and we are very early in the evaluation process of all of this. But we did this last week, and we didn't really have a direction because we didn't have a head coach.
Facts.
Okay, we got the head coach. It came out on Friday. We got the head coach on Saturday. Now we have a head coach. We have a little bit more of a direction, so we think, on where the Steelers want to go and what they want to do. Still a lot to be decided in all of that, but at least we have that direction. Offensive-minded head coach, going to call plays, basically is going to be the offensive coordinator. We know what his system is. He's told us what he wants to have. We'll see about all of that. But I'm excited about it because now we have that, and we can talk about next week. As I'm interested next week, G. I'm interested where we're going to go with it because there's some stuff. I talked about it on the podcast yesterday on what I thought the Steelers could do at that position. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Facts, man. Listen, y'all, make sure you come back and watch this show every Friday. We'll be podcasting live on Steelers Almighty every Friday.
Not live, though.
It's not live, but we're podcasting every Friday on the Draft Lab on Steelers Almighty every Friday. Make sure you check it out. It's great content for Steelers Almighty. And B, next week, running back room. And I think it's going to be super interesting, man. I really do believe that there's some huge questions that has to be answered in this room, considering what we have on the current team, what's free agent, and what we could possibly do. Because, B, you know good and damn well, if we ain't got no running back, what are we going to do? We saw what bad running back play looks like, man. We saw that. So we got to settle in and buckle in. So we'll be back next week to talk to you guys about the running back room on Steelers Almighty Draft Lab. As for my boy Big B, me, Big G, we'll see all you guys next week on the Draft Lab on Steelers Almighty. Have a great week. We'll holler at you guys. Peace.
Let me introduce you to the GOAT.